Have you ever wondered how some guitar players seem to glide and just throw their fingers all around the guitar neck, creating some wonderful ambient sounds? In this video, I will share with you a few methods in learning how to do that and a few tips that will help you create those amazing voicings. Playing with ambient sounds can be super fun and inspiring when creating new music, but sometimes you could be limited to certain voicings when only playing simple, everyday chords. The first way to break out of that is actually using scales in the corresponding key that you are playing in. But before I get started with that, if you're new to this channel, my name is Matt Kelly. I post guitar lessons, gear reviews, and much more. So if you're into these style of videos, consider subscribing down below. When creating these voicings, there are a few things you're going to want to start out with. The first thing is choosing a key that utilizes some open strings. Now this isn't necessary, but I only say this because it's easier to form unique sounding inversions in keys like E major and A major, because you can use the open low strings of each to add some bass and depth to your ambience. Once you choose the key you want to play in, also take a look at its relative minor. In this case, it's C sharp minor because I chose to do this in the key of E major. The reason you want to know the relative minor is because you can use the bass note of C sharp minor and build voicings using that scale. Let's take a look into what I'm talking about. When we combine the minor and major scale into a group of notes, this can be a little easier to work with. So here are the notes of the C sharp minor scale and E major scale. We can use any of these notes in any order to try and find an inspiring sound. Here's an example. So what I'm talking about when I'm saying we can use any of these notes in any order, I mean, you have a whole group of notes that you can utilize with 4 fingers. So let's start with just one. Start anywhere on any note that you can play in this key. So I'll put my middle finger on, let's say, the 11th fret of the D string. Now, surrounding this note, I'm going to use my pointer, ring, and pinky finger to find another selection of notes, and I'm going to move them around and see what sounds good. See, that to me sounds awesome. So I will keep this, I'll try and memorize it. I'll keep playing it over and over again, so maybe I'll build some muscle memory with it. So now I'll do the same thing. I'll start at a different starting point, maybe with my pointer finger on the 9th fret of the A string, and I'll find another inversion or something that sounds great or something that will cater to the one that I just created. And then eventually when you go down the line, you have, let's say, 5 or 6 of them, you play them in order, and you'll have a beautiful ambient track. Now we are not limited to just those 2 scales. We want to be able to do this all over the guitar neck. So you can play any of the modes coming from the E major scale and incorporate those modes throughout the entire guitar neck so you'll have more options and more notes to play. If we add in these new scale shapes, this is what we can now work with. All of these notes. So as you can see, the possibilities are endless of coming up with certain inversions and different voicings to make your ambient playing stand out and sound unique. Now to start, you can place your fingers all around the guitar neck and look at this little diagram, but I recommend learning these scales and learning all the notes on the guitar neck in different keys so you can better utilize the fretboard and come out with some really awesome voicings. So what I was just doing there was just playing the same notes, just in different octaves on different parts of the guitar neck. Another tip is to understand all of the notes that are in the E major scale or whatever scale that you are playing in. If we follow the major scale formula, we can find all the notes that are in this key, and we can also determine which of those notes are major or minor. Here is another diagram showing all the notes in the E major scale and which ones are major and minor. Now in this diagram, you can form a chord progression and incorporate them into voicings by finding the root of each chord and placing your fingers around that root using the scales. If you want to learn about how to understand all the notes in a key and seeing if they're major or minor, or learning all of the guitar modes as I discussed earlier, you can check out my brand new guitar course. I'll attach the link to it down in the description below. I'll talk more about my guitar course in detail in a later video, but for now, let's get back into the lesson. So let's say we were doing a 3, 4, 2, 1 in the key of E major. So the 3 would be a G sharp minor. The 4 would be an A major. The 2 would be an F sharp minor. And then the E, of course, would be the 1. So we'll start with the G sharp minor. We want to find the G sharp note in this little section we were talking about earlier, okay? We have one on the A string on the 11th fret. Then we have the octave to the 13th fret on the G string. And if we really wanted to, we can also add in the 16th fret of the high E string or the 9th fret of the B string. Okay, I'm going to pick the 13th fret on the G string. What we do now is look at the two scales combined and see the notes surrounding this specific root. So I'm going to put my ring finger right here, and I'll put my pinky right here as well. So all these 3 notes are in the E major C sharp minor scale. Now, I really don't like that, so I'm going to try and find something else. I think this one. I think this is going to sound good. Okay, so it's not technically a G sharp minor chord. It's some type of inversion of that chord. The next chord is the A major. We can use the open A, the 12th fret on the A string, the 14th fret on the G. There's tons of other ones we're going to use, but I'm going to use the 12th fret on the A string. Now I'm going to try a few different inversions to see which one sounds best with the one I just played before it. Okay, so that one is the one I'm going to use. So here's the G sharp. And there's the A. The next chord is the F sharp minor. Now I actually know the pattern I'm going to use because I'm used to playing that when I play this type of stuff, and I know it'll sound good. And the next, of course, would be the E major chord. I'm actually going to use that low E string to add some bass and depth to it. And I'm also going to pick another E note a few octaves up on the 9th fret of the G string, as well as the 9th fret of the B string, which would be a G sharp. But I'm going to add a little bit of flair to this one. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pluck the low E string, then the other E with the higher octave. Then I'm going to put my middle finger on the 10th fret of the B string, and I'm going to pull off onto the 9th fret of the B string. Okay, so it's little things like this that you can incorporate into your playing that'll really make it stand out. Now I'll play the bar chords and the new inversions back to back so you can hear the similarities and differences. If you utilize these methods and tips into your playing and practice them often, you will have no problem creating some incredible ambient music. You can also take all this information and apply it to any style of music, really. There are no limits. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with other guitar players who want to learn the basics of ambient guitar playing. Check out some of my other lesson videos here, and remember that my guitar course is down in the description below for you to check out. As always, thanks for watching, and remember to keep on playing. I'll see you guys next week.